One of the things that's happened, certainly over the last 10 years, is that men are increasingly being shown as sort of as sex objects, and so to that extent, traditional conventional masculinity probably is showing up in advertising more than it has in the past. The concepts of gender are very solid. They are very immovable. They're seemingly very resistant to any kind of changing. They're durable. What many of us who are kind of critics of the way sexuality and gender are portrayed in the media is a day when it just simply won't matter, when everything is normalized. Are these going to go away anytime soon? Probably not. And so there's a phenomenon, for instance, we call gay window advertising, where an ad sends one set of messages to a mainstream audience, and maybe another set of messages to a gay male audience, who are I don't want to use the word trained, but at least are attuned to those particular messages, and therefore they can decode them. And perhaps the mainstream audience is not as attuned, and therefore, they either don't interpret them as meaning very much, or they interpret them in a very different way.
There isn't the same singular male identity nowadays, but that there's actually more pressure to conform to an ideal. Because our experience in media has become more fragmented, guys can read their own magazine and watch their own TV shows, and the detailed demographic can read details or Men's Health, and a different kind of demographic can read ESPN magazine. And because the ads in those are more narrowly targeted to the interests of that demographic, I would argue that the images that then are crafted for those niches can be all the more powerful at shaping the reader's ideas of what masculinity is supposed to be about. I think there's a less shared common idea of what an ideal masculinity is in our culture, but that the various images of masculinity that we get in the media we consume are all the more powerful because they seem to sort of speak to our narrower interests. The diversity of images of masculinity doesn't mean that there still isn't a dominant heterosexual masculine ideal that's out there, that exists in the sort of background that's hard to ignore. And so, without a doubt, gays and lesbians are still confronted with images of heterosexuality and images that equate sort of normalcy and masculinity to heterosexuality.
Certainly for men, being fit, being trim, being athletic, being appealing to women and being able to obtain women continues to be just a huge major theme.